What a spine-chilling observation. When the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on earth? Add this question to the astonishment of Jesus and his sorrow when the people of his hometown lacked faith, so he could work no wonders in Nazareth. Now Jesus is not speaking to a small town, but rather to our global village, the earth and all its peoples. A world with no faith, a world that has lost heart, a world without hope. Those who have ever experienced desolation and purgation of spiritual awakening know that such a world is cold, grey, uncaring, disinterested, meaningless and empty. As Jesus poses this question to us, he is proposing that there is a possibility, a very real possibility of a world without faith, without heart and without hope, a universal damnation, a universal rejection of grace. This is on the other extreme of the theology of Han Urs von Balthasar, who poses the question, dare we hope that all people may be saved? Hope or despair, where are we to go? Is it possible to even live without faith? We desperately need these words of Jesus today. Pray always and do not lose heart. We have recently watched a young girl speaking to the world leaders at the United Nations about a delusional world, telling fairy tales of perpetual growth of capitalism and all its many Ponzi schemes. This young girl has been diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, high-functioning autism, OCD, and selective mutism, which is experienced as a terror of speaking to anyone outside her closest family. She's experienced anxiety attacks, eating disorders, and depression. I want you to panic. I want you to feel the fear that I feel every day, Greta said as she addressed the world leaders in Davos. This is an insane and dangerous time for our world, facing ecological, financial, and social implosion. It is particularly dangerous because of the collective, toxic psychosis of denial and disconnection. As a global community, we are asleep, and we are in denial. It has taken a young girl overcoming her own fear, her own panic, to speak to the world about what it means to lose hope, a child pointing to the emperor without clothes. Within the church also there are many who have lost heart, lost hope, and disconnected themselves from the support of the community. There are many frightening dangers that can cause us also to lose heart. Corruption and the abuse of power are as corrosive as fundamentalism and the appropriation of the gospel for selfish, nationalistic agendas. In this insane and dangerous time, all of us need reconnection. This is the reconnection between ourselves and God, between ourselves and creation, and between ourselves and the earth and all its peoples. Prayer is about connection, about communication. Prayer involves us in being seen and being known. Prayer changes us, changes our pride into humility, humility and vulnerability that opens us to the possibility of love. This is the grace, and in this is our hope, our redemption. Today Jesus tells the story of a disinterested judge who gives in to the nagging of a widow, like a parent giving in to a petulant child. God is neither unjust nor disinterested, and it is not our action that makes God benevolent towards us. We are told to pray without tiring, to pray constantly, and to pray with determination, and we are assured of the efficacy of our prayer, that prayer is answered. We may wonder, though, why it seems that many of our prayers and petitions, while they may appear good and fitting to us, do not receive an answer. Yet it is prayer that brings us grace, brings us hope, brings us that grace and courage to overcome difficulties. The efficacy of prayer depends on our faith as the human responds to God's grace, coming to know our dependence on God. But perhaps at the end of the day, it's examples rather than theological arguments that are most effective. Let us recall today that remarkable rescue of those 12 trapped Thai boys with their football coach. They spent 9 days in that cave, in darkness, and with little food. It was prayer, their faith and their hope, that gave them their endurance, their prayers and the prayers of their loved ones. And perhaps the biggest miracle of prayer, the empathy and the compassion that touched the hearts of all the world, the joy and the gratitude shared by a world that has grown weary and uncaring. Prayer crosses the divide, bridges the gap, and enables us, in the end, to become one, to experience connection and love, to overcome indifference. Prayer in faith is the springboard, the core, the power that touches and moves our hearts to compassion. Help us, O God, to be ever mindful of the beauties around us. May we grow with our flowers in gentleness, in patience, courage, laughter, and religion. As we turn the brown soil and plant our seed, may we learn faith, faith in the goodness of the earth, the clemency of the sun, the fullness of the clouds. Be praised, my Lord, through Sister Earth, our Mother, who feeds us and rules us, produces various flowers and coloured flowers and herbs. Amen.